واجعل أوسع رزقك علي إذا كبرت. Provide me وأقوى قوتك في إذا نصبت. Provide for me your widest provision in my old age. You know, when we are young, we work. Some of us are workaholic. But as we age, our energy is going to be depleted. So sometimes we do not generate the necessary income, the necessary provision for our families. Imam Zain al-Abidin says, I want you to give me your widest provision and rizq when I am old, when I cannot work anymore. Don't leave me in need for anyone. وَأَقْوَى قُوَّتَكَ فِيَّ إِذَا نَصَبْتَ. And provide me your strongest strength when I am exhausted. وَلَا تَبْتَلِنِي بِالْكَسَلِ عَنْ عِبَادَتِكَ وَلَا الْعَمَى عَنْ سَبِيلِكَ. Do not try me, do not afflict me with weakness and laziness in worshipping you. Now we can worship, but who knows what will happen at the age of 70 and 80 and 90. Can we still worship? Can we still pray? Imam Zain al-Abidin says, do not afflict me with this. Don't try me with laziness when it comes to worshipping you. I want to worship you with the same zeal, with the same passion that I have now, even when I am old. وَلَا الْعَمَى عَنْ سَبِيلِكَ. Do not afflict me with a blindness toward your path. Sometimes we are blinded by the dunya. The desire, when the desire overcomes reason, the result is zero visibility. We don't see the path. The right path is ahead of us, but we don't see it. We don't follow it. Zero visibility. Why? Because we are overwhelmed with desire, not with aql, not with reason. How many people today they perform Salatul Jum'ah? How many? What is the estimate? Worldwide. Hundreds of millions. Hundreds of millions. All the mosques are packed for Friday prayers. But I wonder, I don't want to judge anyone. I wonder how many of them they are on the right path. How many of those? 50%? 60%? What is the percentage of those people who perform Salatul Jum'ah on Fridays? But when it comes to the right path, they stick to the right path. How many of them? I don't know. Only God knows. Only God knows. So Imam Zain al-Abidin says, do not afflict me by not seeing, by being blind when it comes to the right path. وَلَا بِالتَّعَرُّضِ لِخِلَافِ مَحَبَّتِكَ. Do not try me with being involved in any matter that you do not like. وَلَا مُجَامَعَةِ مَنْ تَفَرَّقَ عَنْكَ وَلَا مُفَارَقَةِ مَنْ اجْتَمَعَ إِلَيْكَ. Again, do not try me with joining with anyone who has separated from you. Neither with separating from one who has joined himself to you. So if there are some people who don't like you, don't afflict me with their friendship. I don't want to be in that group. And if there are people who are with you on your path, do not separate me from them. Always encourage me, inspire my heart to be with the group that is walking and following your path. اللهم اجعلني أصول بك عند الضرورة وأسألك عند الحاجة وأتضرع إليك عند المسكنة. O Allah, make me leap to you in times of distress, ask from you in times of need, and plead to you in times of misery. يا مفزعي عند كربتي ويا غياثي عند شدتي. You are my refuge, you are my harbor at the time of affliction, and you are my retreat and sanctuary at the time of distress. At the time of need, my friends, because out of desperation, it happens to all of us. At the time of need, emergency, medical emergency, financial emergency, when you are lonely, when something happens to you, your mind goes to some friends. Shaitan does not want you to go to God. So rather than calling God and saying, Ya Allah, you call a friend, you call a doctor, you call your lawyer friend, You call your rich friend. You call upon them for help. Shaitan does not want you to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Of course, those friends are means. They are means. There is nothing wrong in asking them. But my attention, my mind has to go first at the time of distress and emergency to God. Ya mafza'i 'inda kurbati wa ya ghiyathi 'inda shiddati. He is my harbor. He is my sanctuary. He is my response. He is the first responder. God is the first responder in this universe. We call him, and then after that it's okay to ask fulan and fulan and fulan. وَلَا تَفْتِنِّي بِالْإِسْتِعَانَةِ بِغَيْرِكَ إِذَا اضْطَرَرْتَ. Do not tempt me to seek help from others than you when I am in distress. وَلَا بِالْخُضُوعِ لِسُؤَالِ غَيْرِكَ إِذَا افتقرت. Nor to humble myself in asking someone else when I am poor. وَلَا بِالتَّضَرُّعِ إِلَى مَنْ دُونِكَ إِذَا رَهِبْتَ. Nor to plead with someone who is below you, who is your creature at the time of my fear. Let me conclude with a story from the time of Bani Israel. At the time of Bani Israel, there were many monks. This was their habit. Many monks who go to monastery in the mountain, a cave in the mountain, and they dedicate their entire life to worshiping God. They are celibates, they don't get married, they eat little food, they survive on little food, and they are recluse. They segregate themselves completely from the society, worshiping God. Of course, God says, مَا كَتَبْنَاهَا عَلَيْهِمْ وَرَهْبَانِيَّةً مَا كَتَبْ. We didn't ask them. We want people to be in the society. God does not want me to go sit in the mountain by myself, spend my life there. God wants me to worship Him when I'm in the midst of people, in the midst of the challenges, helping my family, my community. But this is their thinking. This is their way. One of them worshipped God for 70 years, secluded from people. And God will send him food. He doesn't work. God will send him food. God will inspire the hearts of some people in the neighborhood to take food for this man. After 70 years, the hadith says, God wanted to test this abid, this worshipper, to test him. God puts us to test, by the way. The test sometimes daily, sometimes weekly, sometimes monthly. We cannot escape. أَحَسِبَ النَّاسُ أَن يُتْرَكُوا أَن يَقُولُوا آمَنَّا وَهُمْ لَا يُفْتَنُونَ وَلَقَدْ فَتَنَّا الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِهِمْ فَلَيَعْلَمَنَّ اللَّهُ الَّذِينَ صَدَقُوا وَلَيَعْلَمَنَّ الْكَاذِبِينَ. We tested all generations before people. When they say we are believer, God puts you to test. These are tests. These afflictions, these challenges, these problems in your life, these are imtihan. Don't look at them as being punishment. No. Punishment, when you say punishment, this is a negative perspective. Be positive. This is a test from God. So God puts all of us in test, to test. He tested this man. One day God did not send him anyone to see how is his worshipping. He's worshipping God 70 years. He claims to be Waliullah, a friend of God. No food. He was starving. He couldn't wait until sunset. He decided to leave his monastery and go to the village, nearby village, and ask for food. So he left. He couldn't take it anymore. He was starving. So he went to the first house. The first house gave him a loaf of bread, fresh bread. He took it, he thanked them. He was on his way to his monastery back to eat this loaf of bread. A dog chased him, was barking. So he cut part of the bread, gave it to him. Again, he was chasing him. He cut another piece, a third one, a fourth one, until the entire bread was gone. So the abid, the worshipper, got very frustrated. He looked at the dog. He said to him, shame on you. I gave you the entire food and you are still ungrateful? You are ungrateful rather than saying thank you and leave me alone and go. God made the dog speak. The dog said to him, the shame is not on me, the shame on you. God has given you for 70 years. And now He wanted to test you for one day. He delayed your rizq, your provision. He delayed the meal. He didn't want to deprive you. He just delayed it to see whether you are patient or you leave your monastery and go and ask and beg for food. You are ungrateful, not